Good evening, everybody. Third attempt, I believe, at making this video. And the seagulls are chirping away, as per the usual. But that's not why you called. No, this video is going to be dedicated towards, if I can remember, yes, Labour, of course. Kier, the biggest Tool Starmer. But more importantly, it's also partly to do with one Shabana Mahmood, who is the Secretary for Justice, or the lack thereof in this country. So, if we now all of a sudden start seeing people like Mohammed Imran Ali Akhtar out of jail, she'll probably be one of the main supporters behind it. But I am jumping the gun a little bit here, and it's a pretty big gun at that. So first off, who is Shabana Mahmood? She is obviously she's the Justice Secretary, I've just mentioned that, but she is a very big supporter of Palestine. And as you well know, Palestine are a very big supporter of the terrorist group Hamas. So any affiliation with Palestine has at bare minimum a very strong chance to also have strong sympathies with, at the very least, the terror group, if not the call that she, I believe, may have even said, for all I know, that a lot of Palestine lovers love to use, which is from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And the context, for those that don't know, is Palestine will be free of Jewish blood. So that already puts our friend, well, she's not my friend, fuck you, Shabana. But anyway, that already puts our friend here in very murky water. And that's putting it nicely. Because the way I look at it, if you are willing to support Palestine, you are also effectively calling for the genocide of Jews. Which is something, of course, the mainstream media won't dare say out in live television, because they know it would undermine the globalist narrative. It's scary to think, though, we have a potential terrorist sympathizing Islamic prick or bitch as part of our politics. Even worse still, that of the Secretary of Justice. So moving on from all that, Kier the Tool Starmer has decided he wants to lower the prison sentences people can face before being eligible for parole. To which, quite frankly, that if I get the words out, that in and of itself is a very bad idea. God, having another stroke like that. Well, don't worry, I'll have another one later. Anyway, Kier the Tool Starmer has brought this into effect, where he wants to lower people's serving time in jail. In and of itself, bad idea, because it means that people guilty of the most heinous crimes, like our very English friend here, Mohammed Imran Ali Akhtar, who was a leader of a Pakistani Muslim rape gang, is going to be able to walk through the streets very soon. And he pled guilty to two crimes against a child. She was 13, so she was still a child, not a teenager, and she was violated by this man. 2 cases of, obviously, sex crimes against a minor. And he pled guilty to those in Sheffield Crown Court. So, understandably, you can feel my anger and hatred when I hear this news. It says to me that Kier Starmer is not even 2 weeks into his candidacy and he's already jumped off the deep end. This traitor is already letting out criminals. Even worse still, on an unrelated note to this, he's also decided that he is going to allow 100,000 illegal immigrants to apply for asylum here. Does anybody here think that's a good idea? I really should be one of those statues, shouldn't I? Anyway, do you hear that? Other than the cars going by, that's the sound of silence. And I'll tell you why that sound of silence is there. It's because nobody thinks this is a good idea. except maybe the NPCs on the left, who are pushing all the migrants could come here, not realising they're going to get fucked in the arse very quickly by their DEI. Because a lot of these people that come over to our country, that are entering our country illegally, are usually doing it so they can come and commit crimes here. Just take a look at what's happening with the Albanians, as well as hardline Islamists in general, who, when they don't get their own way, they throw their toys out of the pram, and they tend to get a little bit stabby, and a little bit rapey, and a little bit murdery. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. This absolute fucking specimen of a Prime Minister is more interested in allowing more Islamic and cheap labour immigration into this country than he is protecting our borders. This is why he did not want to talk about immigration when it came down to the debates. It is why I have to run quickly before I get squashed again. But anyway, it's why he effectively did everything he could to avoid talking about immigration. And the reason for this is quite simple, of course. He didn't want to talk about it because he'd get a new arse ripped open. He really would. He'd have so many holes, he'd almost look like a woman. But I have no doubt it would be one that Islam would love to use nonetheless. Even before this traitor got into power, I was never going to give this guy a chance. I'll accept that. Oh, there you go. You're welcome. But this guy, basically, I wasn't going to give him a chance because I know what Labour are like. I know what the Tories are like. All two cheeks of the same shitty, saggy ass. One is going to sink our country, and the other one is going to sink our country, just 10 times faster. It just disgusts me more than anything that there were so many NPCs out there who decided, like sheep, to follow the biggest tool, Starmer. They are going to reap what they sow eventually, though. And when they come running towards us and say, we're sorry, we should have voted reform, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to shed a tear for you. And don't even get me fucking started on David the Knob Lammy. Yes, I'm sorry, Super J, I'm using that skit of yours. Fucking sue me. Anyway, David the Knob Lammy, who likes to go to the Blue Tweety Bird and basically shit talk everyone he sees who isn't following his narrative. A man who no less slagged off Trump is now our Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. He is the male version of Diane Abbott. Or maybe I was right first time. But to bring this back onto the main point, the fact that we have a Muslim MP who is now a Secretary of Justice should tell you everything you need to know about the justice system. The justice system is fucked, bluntly speaking. Because you know what people like her are going to do? They're going to allow their Islamist friends to get off with lighter sentences or even scot-free, potentially. After all, she is a big supporter of Palestine, as I said. And Palestine are in support of basically terrorism and genocide. So is there any doubt in anyone's minds why I think this right now? And is there any reason why people can't understand why I'm thinking this right now? Because for me, having a woman like her in politics is extremely dangerous. Because it means that it's effectively, if we get another MP like that, who gets into a really powerful position, even more so than the Secretary of State for Justice, we are all screwed. We are all screwed if they put another one of those people in. If Sadiq Khan gets in power, we are definitely done for. We're cooked. They will have literally just stuck Britain in the oven, put it on 200, wait 15 minutes, turn it over, another 15 minutes, oh look, Britain's well done. That's the way I look at it right now. And I want to be more positive about this shit, but the trouble is, with her and Kier the Tool Starmer combined, we're going to see a lot of rapists, murderers, grooming gang leaders, and other atrocious people walking the streets. And that shit scares me, because it means that a lot more innocent people are going to suffer on the back of that fucking tool. It also means that people like those Pakistani Muslim rape gangs are more likely to have their shit covered up by people like Shabana Mahmood, and are basically going to be allowed to do whatever the bloody hell they want. The only thing that could make it any worse at this point is if Mark Rowley was replaced by a Muslim as well. And let me be clear on this. I'm not saying Muslims like this because I think all Muslims are like this. Absolutely not. There is not a racist bone in this body, and it's a pretty big one at that. I'm saying this because we know what a lot of hardline Islamist beliefs are. They believe in the Sunni teachings of Islam, which teaches them that white women can be taken as sex slaves, that women are second-class citizens, that gays can be given a free first-class ticket off the top of a building, if you catch my drift. That's why I have a fundamental problem with this. Because we all know as well that Sadiq Khan has those connections to the 7/7 bombers, how he tried to help those people out, but he had it dismissed as Islamophobia. And let me tell you something else, which someone actually pointed out to me. Islamophobia is basically the opposite of anti-Semitism. It is effectively their counter-argument to anti-Semitism. It's there for them to be like, oh, you don't want us to eradicate the Jews. Well, you're Islamophobic then. No, that's not how it works, bud. You can't be in fear of a death cult that wishes to subjugate the human race, which is something, of course, the mainstream media are not going to tell you about, because Islam's literal definition is submission, submit, surrender. Do you see that shit in Christian Bibles, or the Hindu's holy book, or the Buddha's holy book, if he has one? No, you don't. Because they're generally not a warrior religion, as what's his face? I can't remember the fucker's name, Muhammad something or other, that Tommy Robinson talked about. Yeah, that Muhammad. And there's always an awful lot of people like that who are called Muhammad. I wonder why. Is it because Muhammad was their prophet and violated a girl, took her in as marriage, 7 years old? Something tells me that might be the case. But the bottom line is, Kier the Tool Starmer is making a massive mistake lowering the sentences of these people. And it's why we need to get traitors like him out of power. We need to take out the trash. We need to get rid of people who are completely unsuitable for their positions or in Western society. Islam is a cancer that needs to be rooted out and cast away. Because at the end of the day, Islam will stop at nothing to subjugate any person of any race, of any sex. It's one of two ways with Islam. It is either you submit or you die. That is the warrior religion of Islam for you. But don't just take my words for it. The moronic fool who outed himself and got exposed by Tommy Robinson has already stated this. And I do genuinely worry at what will happen if Kier the Tool Starmer really is going ahead with this. I do hope this is the equivalent of an April Fool's joke, as a gotcha moment. Because otherwise, I can already see a whole shitstorm heading for this entire country, and it'll all be on the back of Kier the Tool Starmer not even 2 weeks into his days as Prime Minister. I am worried. I wouldn't blame you if you were worried. This shit is absolutely batshit insane. This is why the British people made a terrible... Or sorry, I shouldn't say the British people. The NPCs have made a woefully dreadful mistake voting the biggest tool into power. This is why I worry about the future of my country, our country. Because I'm worried that Kier, the biggest tool Starmer, has literally just hit us into a damn iceberg. And it will take a damn miracle to get that ship of Britain floating back again.